Hi Morgan, my name is Joanna. I'm going to be your occupational therapy student today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Just before we start, I want to confirm your age. How old are you?
23.
23. So Morgan's a part of the middle adulthood learning stage. And what's your gender?
I'm a female.
And female. And on your paperwork, it says that you're part of a middle class socioeconomic status. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And what's your occupation, Morgan?
I am a teacher.
Teacher. So we're going to be learning how to make bracelets today. So maybe this is an activity that you can complete with your students at a later time and you can carry it on to them. Before we begin making bracelets today, and I administered the realm assessment to evaluate Morgan's health literacy status, and she tested sufficient in that level. So as I said before, we're going to be making bracelets today, and the purpose of making bracelets, I'm going to provide you with the step-by-step instructions so you can carry on this activity, and the goal by the end is for you to independently create the bracelet by yourself. Okay, so, and throughout this activity, we're going to make sure if you make a mistake, you're going to self-correct yourself, and we're going to learn how to self-correct if a knot gets messed up or if we go in the wrong order. And we're also going to make sure that we identify the correct strand to properly exhibit the pattern that we want to put in place before we begin.
Okay.
So once the skill is mastered and you're doing it by yourself, it can become a mindless activity. So it's very calming, probably decreases anxiety, and it will allow you to live a better quality of life because you'll have reduced stress. So before we begin, we're going to introduce the materials needed for this activity. So first, we need string. So I'm going to have Morgan pick out how many strands you want to use for this activity. The thickness of the bracelet depends on how many strands are used. So if you use 10 strands, it'll be pretty thick. If you use 7, it'll be medium. And if you use 5, it'll be pretty thin.
Let's do 5.
Okay, 5. Okay, Morgan, so we're going to go through a step-by-step sequence. First, I'm going to model it, and then you're going to show me how you model it to me.
Okay.
So first, we're going to pick the colors. I'll pick first. And like Morgan said before, she wants 5 strands, so I'll also do 5 strands. So since summer's coming up, I'm thinking I'm going to do maybe a little bit of a yellow scheme. And so I have 5. 5 summer colors and white for a good transition color. Morgan, would you like to pick your colors now?
Yes. I will also go with a pink color scheme because it is summery. And I'm going to have white as a transition color as well. So here are all my colors.
Okay, cool. So next, we're going to cut the string to be arm's length. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and then you can show me. So first, I'm going to put the end of this string in my fingertips between my thumb and my pointer finger, and then I'm going to stretch it down to like my armpit, and then I'm going to mark it off with my other hand, and then cut. Make sure we're really safe with the scissors. Okay. Okay, now can you try with the same strand?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thumb and pointer finger, pinch it, and then bring it down to the armpit.
Cool.
All right, mark it off here, and I'm going to use my scissors.
Awesome. So now, are you ready? Do you think you can cut your own colors on your own, measuring them arm's length?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to do that by ourselves. If you pull it out really slowly, it helps not to knot it up.
Perfect. Okay, so thumb and pointer finger, mark it off here. And I just need 1 strand for each color.
Yep.
Perfect.
Since we'll make it like a little thin. Okay, my white. It also might be helpful to move the string to the side after you do it
Mm-hmm.
and start lining them up, because then they won't get all tangled.
That makes sense. Nice and straight. This is easy because it's nice and like new string.
Yeah, fresh spools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm gonna put my next one to the side. On my last string. How are you doing?
I am finished with my cutting.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I cut all of them.
Okay. Okay, Morgan. Before we begin making the rest of the bracelet, I'm just gonna ask you a few questions to test your knowledge so far.
All right.
Okay, so my first question is, what are the 4 materials needed to make bracelets?
So we need the string, we need scissors, we need tape, and then we need a flat surface.
A flat surface to fasten the bracelet on. Perfect. And then about how long do we want the string to be for each bracelet?
So we want the string to be about arm's length, just so like obviously your bracelet's not going to be that long, like as long as your whole arm. However, you want that excess string so you have room to, tie it and do a bunch of other stuff with it.
Okay. And how do you determine the thickness of the bracelet?
The thickness depends on how much string you have. So if we are doing a 5-string bracelet, so that's going to be a thinner bracelet. However, if you did a 10-string bracelet, it would be a lot thicker.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Morgan, so for our next step, we're going to make sure that all of our strings are the same length. So I have mine laid out flat on the table to make sure that they're all the same length. Okay, mine all look the same length. How do yours look?
I just noticed that my white one, the first one I did, is just a little bit shorter than the rest of them.
Okay, so I think that maybe we should retry cutting it with the proper arm length method that we used before. Do you think you're okay to do that by yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I think my elbow was just maybe a little bit bent, so I didn't get that full arm's length.
Okay. Awesome that you noticed your mistake.
Okay. Now we're good.
Okay. So next, we're going to gather our string and put them in between our thumb and our pointer finger and line them up. So I'm going to do it. So say I'm going to have this. Then the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might have to shimmy them down depending, and then you can condense them. Do you want to try to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make sure that there's some at the top.
Yeah, we're going to leave some room at the top in case you want to tie it around your wrist or tie it to your keychain, so there's room.
Got it.
Before the knot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I probably left around
an inch. Oh no.
about
that's
2
probably
inches.
more. inches. Okay.
And then I like to run my fingers along it to make sure that it's like getting a little less tangled. Naturally, it'll get tangled anyway, but we want to keep doing that so it's like a little bit, stays a little bit uniform.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, just one more.
Take your time.
All right. And then leave about like this much.
Okay. So now I'm going to have you wrap it around your 2 fingers, and then we're going to get the top, the excess part, and slide it through on the front of our fingers. Hold it with one hand, let go, and then pull to have a knot to start our bracelet on.
Okay. So.
Good, maybe. There you go. Then you're going to slide. Good job. And pull. Awesome job.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, next we're gonna tie our knot or tape our knot to the end of this box. So I'm going to pull off a piece of tape for myself, and then tape it. We want to make sure there's like, you're taping pretty much just the knot, so you have room to like tie your knots for the bracelet. Okay, so now see how it has that little bit of room.
Yep.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna do that.
Okay, good job. Next, I'm gonna organize my strings in the order that I want my pattern to be in. So I'm gonna do white first, then I'm gonna do yellow, light yellow, my second light yellow, a pale orange, and then my darker orange. So I have them all lined up. I'm going to show the camera. Lined up and sectioned off in a row to accomplish the color pattern that I want to do. So can you show me how to do that? Okay.
So I'm just making sure that they're not like tangled.
Yeah, and you want them in the order. There you go. Good job. Okay. So next I'm going to show how I'm going to tie it. So I grab the first 2 strings, and then I'm going to make a 4, and then grab with my pointer finger and thumb and pull it through. I'm going to do it very softly because the looser the knots, the more wide the knots are. I'm going to do that once and then a second time. Nice and slow, 4, and then pull up nice and light. I'll also show right now how to go to the next string, and then Morgan will try. Okay, so then I pull the one I already used over, and then I will do my next string. 1, nice and light, but a little tight on the end, 2. Nice. Then I pull my other one over. Okay, Morgan, are you ready to try?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, now me and Morgan are gonna do this together. Since we both have the skills, if Morgan has any questions, she'll ask. Do you have any questions?
Nope, not right now. I think I'm just trying to get the 4 shape down.
Yeah.
The method.
Yeah, it'll become more natural. I did this a lot over the quarantine. It's a good social distancing activity, you know?
And it definitely reduces stress.
Yeah, don't you just feel calm and organized like you have your life together?
Okay. Then you just keep going, but with the next colored string.
Yeah, so the one you tie through, or like the main knot, will be the last string, and then the one you start it with will be the the beginning of the new color string.
So I'm starting to kind of see a pattern, even though it's quite early in the process.
Yeah, the pattern definitely forms. And ours will look cool because it'll be like a good sequence of colors, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna start with my orange. A good fade of colors. That's the word I was trying to think of. Okay. Sometimes it is harder with these kind because it looks like you
get confused with like what color.
Yeah, like it's not like a drastic change of color, so sometimes your eyes trick you since it's like a slight difference of color. Okay. Okay, good job. There you go. And sometimes you do mess up. It's okay. I always just restart if I'm really far in, or I untie the knot if I notice it right when I do it. I like to do this, so. Okay. Okay. Alright, Morgan, I'm going to just ask you a few more questions like I did before, just to make sure that we're on the same page. What shape do you make with the string to tie the knot?
I make a 4 shape.
Okay, and can you show me that?
Yeah. So I'm taking my thumb and I'm making that like a 4.
Okay.
And then I'm pulling the white through.
And that leads us to our next question, which is, how many knots do you put on each singular strand of string?
I put 2 knots on each one.
Okay. So, for the last 2 steps of this process, you continue to go through this sequential pattern until the desired length of your bracelet or keychain is made. So, we're running out of time in our session today, so we won't be showing that. And the last step is to tie it on our wrist, which we can show, or we can tie it around the keychain. So Morgan, would you like to do a keychain or tie it around your wrist?
I can tie it around my keychain.
Okay, cool. So we'll show you how to tie the top part of the keychain off, and then Morgan can continue this skill at home at a later time, okay? Okay, so now I'm gonna tie my creation so far around my keychain. So I'm gonna put the end of it through the hole, and then I'm gonna, like we did before, okay, then we're gonna cross them over, under, and then pull through. You should probably double knot it. Okay. Cross it and pull through. And then you continue your design, and then it will get long as you want, and then you can cut it off and tie it at the other end like we just did. Okay, Morgan, now can you show me? Okay, so we're gonna unhook the tape. Good job. Morgan's gonna get our keys. Gonna go through. That's right. And a knot. Nice. Okay, so I just want to explain what we did today. So we used the cognitive domain, and you exhibited your knowledge by recalling the proper step-by-step sequence repeatedly as you went through to make your bracelet. You also recognized the materials needed, and use them properly throughout our activity. You identified the correct strand needed to be used each time you went through before you started to tie the knots each time. You used your comprehension skills to answer the questions that I asked you throughout the step-by-step sequence. And you applied the knowledge that we learned and actually made the bracelet. I just wanted to let you know that this is a hands-on activity, so it's considered kinesthetic because you're actually using your hands and going through the movements of making the bracelet and tying the knots. So now I'm going to have you take a quiz. I'm going to have you sequence the order of steps that we used and we learned in order from 1 to 10.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you time now to complete that, and then we can go over the correct answers. Take your time. Good job. Keep going. Okay, so now we're going to check Morgan's answers compared to the actual sequence. And we need Morgan to get 8 out of 10 right because we need to have an 80% to make sure that you retain the knowledge from today. So the first step, choose the colors. Correct? Good job. Next, we're gonna cut the string to arm's length, which Morgan has as second. Third, we're gonna make sure that all the strings are similar lengths. Fourth, which Morgan has as well, tie the top in a knot. Check. Fifth step, tape the knot to the flat surface. Good job. Sixth step, we're going to make sure we have our strands in order before we begin tying the knots. Seventh step, we create the fourth shape and slide up. Eighth step, we do 2 knots on each strand through the entire sequence. Good job, Morgan. Ninth step, we continue until the bracelet is the desired length. And last step, we cut the end of the bracelet or tie it to a keychain. Good job. So Morgan got a 100%. Good job, Morgan. You did great today. Thank you for participating in our activity, and I hope bracelet making is part of your future.
Thank you.